The Open Championship just made a very shocking announcement for the 2023 season, and what this means for the players on both tours will surprise you. Similar to the Masters, the Open Championship just announced that they wouldn't be banning eligible LIV players from participating in this year's edition. Yeah, you heard that right. LIV golfers have officially been granted entry into yet another major, and this is huge news to the controversial LIV series. With this recent development, many people have said that players on the PGA Tour should feel betrayed by the American circuit. But why is the R&A Golf Club not banning LIV players? And why should the PGA Tour players feel betrayed? I'm about to reveal to you shocking details about what goes on behind the scene. The PGA Tour might even be more controversial than LIV Golf. You see, while the Saudi-funded tour has drawn some of the game's biggest names with its incredible prize money, it has its drawbacks. Seeing players like Sergio Garcia, Dustin Johnson, Lee Westwood, and even Phil Mickelson face bans for their participation in LIV Golf seems a bit petty, but those are the current facts in the LIV versus PGA war. They were banned because they participated in LIV Golf's Invitational Series without authorization from the PGA. It was basically making a decision and having to deal with the consequences that come with it. And like Rory Mclroy put it,
bad, you lie in it, and they've made their bed, so that's their decision and they have to live with that.
But the tour's action was met with various reactions, with some saying that the players exceeded the bounds of the regulation, so they had to expect nothing short of a suspension, while others said joining a new league shouldn't be an offense. Following the ban, which shook the golf community, speculations began to arise about whether the Rebels will be also banned from the Open tournament. However, the Open Championship has stated that it won't be banning any player from the competition. Since golf's civil war raged between the rival tours, what has been the opinion of the R&A chief executive? You see, Martin Slumbers said he had no problem with players choosing their tournament and taking the prize money that LIV awarded them. On the other hand, he voiced reservations over the LIV golf model and the player paths that lead there. However, Slumbers has once again stuck to his words from back in July about not banning LIV players. But he was very concerned. He said, "I'm concerned about some of the talks going on right now. However, I don't get into specifics." Martin was deeply concerned about eroding pathways, and he was worried about values being lost. To get a better understanding of his opinion, you might want to ask yourself why a lot of people play golf. You see, most people play the sport because they believe it will benefit them. They like spending time with their buddies, and they appreciate the honesty that golf demands. Few people participate because they may cash in big, and that's his subtle point. And according to him, golf values are important. Also, some of the pathways and meritocracy may have already eroded, which would not benefit the sport's long-term health. Money is obviously necessary, but so are good values and ethics. Well, at least that's Slumbers' view. He believes the LIV golf model will erode golf values. But still, he didn't allow it to cloud his sense of reasoning. Instead, he maintained that in contrast to the PGA Tour's action, the Open Championship would not ban LIV players while calling on the tension between the warring sides to subside. You see, the banning of Rebel League players who ditched the American-based circuit seemed to have occupied the airwaves for a pretty long time, with various media houses claiming players on both tours don't see eye to eye. But Brooks Koepka apparently differs from that opinion. According to the 32-year-old, all the players get along pretty well, and the media should be blamed for blowing it out of proportion.
Media's kind of blown it up into a different situation than it really is. We all get along. We're all fine.
However, LIV golfers being allowed into this year's Open shouldn't be much of a surprise, as Slumbers signaled as much last fall when he said the organization would go public this January or February with their decision regarding the players on the rival tour. While speaking with Golf Digest, Slumbers referred to a statement last July when he said they weren't banning anyone. He also said they weren't going to betray 150 years of history and have the Open not be open. "We will ensure that there are suitable pathways and ways to qualify," Slumbers continued. "I'm looking forward to seeing Cameron Smith tee up at about 9:40 a.m. on the first day of the Open. The Open needs to distinguish itself from the ongoing disagreements and ensure we stay true to our principle of having the finest players in the world competing." So under its qualifying criteria, which LIV players will be participating in this summer's Open Championship at Royal Liverpool in England? In announcing the exemption categories for this year's event, the R&A noted golfers who have already qualified. They include defending champion Cameron Smith and other past Open champions who rebelled against the PGA Tour: Phil Mickelson, Louis Oosthuizen, and Henrik Stenson. Joaquin Niemann is in via the Tour Championship. Taylor Gooch will get a spot based on qualifying, but not competing in the season-ending Tour Championship on the American Tour. Augusta also acknowledged that accomplishment. But the US Open, on the other hand, decided to alter its wording to say that you had to be eligible. Taylor was suspended by the PGA Tour. Bryson DeChambeau and Dustin Johnson will be in the field via their top 10 finishes at St. Andrews last year. The duo were also exempt for having won major championships in the last 5 years. Patrick Reed and Brooks Koepka are also in for having won majors in the last 5 years. Along with Richard Bland, Thomas Pieters, who joined the Rebel Series this year, is in the field for finishing among the top 30 in last year's Race to Dubai standings. There's also a long list of exemptions we don't need to dive into. But the biggest, juiciest piece of news is that the Rebels are going to be able to play. And this is really controversial to me because when people join LIV Golf, we have this whole thing of, yes, you joined LIV Golf. You can't play the majors. So this is where all of this gets a little bit juicier. Seth Waugh, the chief executive officer of the PGA of America, reportedly said that their decision has always been based on what is in the best interest of the PGA of America, conducting the best championship possible. And for me, that's an open admission that if you don't have some of these LIV Golf players playing, your championship and commercial value just isn't as strong. And that has to be true. You wouldn't have the likes of Brooks Koepka, Dustin Johnson, and even Cameron Smith, just to name a few on that list, who are big characters in the game, but also big-time players. There's also almost like an admission that golf is stronger with LIV golfers playing, which I don't think any of us can disagree on. I mean, irrespective of what tour they play, they are just good players. But all of these gains don't take away the fact that LIV Golf isn't recognized by the official World Golf Rankings, meaning its players can't accumulate any points because it has no cut and the tournaments are only over 3 rounds. But Norman seems to be growing impatient. His statement speaks volumes about his next move.
I think there are a couple of other people coming up with another OWGR system. Why is the OWGR the only system?
Yeah, you heard him right. Why is the OWGR the only system? Is he planning to float a rival body to the OWGR, or is he planning to key into an already running parallel program? So, Sports Illustrated has come up with a new World's Top 100 list. Now, there are a few differences, but this list puts Cameron Smith at number 10 and Dustin Johnson at number 13 in the world. The top 20 doesn't really change, as it's still made up of the PGA Tour players. Now, how does that look for LIV? I think that's a question best answered by the Shark. While taking a jab at Tiger Woods, whom Norman likes to call the PGA Tour's puppet, the LIV Golf Commissioner said there'll always be players criticizing the tour because they were asked to.
There's always going to be one or two that's going to be, doing things that they're probably being asked to do, like I said.
But he's not moved, and that's because he reiterated that he's here to stay.
I'm still here. Simple as that.
LIV Golf is definitely making progress, and with its progress comes more haters. And to all LIV Golf's critics, here's what Norman has for you.
Completely understand what you're talking about. Don't open your mouth, because you only embarrass yourself.
So what do you think about the Rebels participating in yet another major? Let us know in the comments section below. For more intriguing golf content from us, click one of these videos.